Welcome back to our YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your continued support. Kindly consider subscribing to our channel if you're watching for the first time. The very unfortunate events that took place yesterday in the United States of America has scared William Ruto stiff. It is giving William Ruto sleepless nights. There is a great connection between our country, Kenya, and the USA. Currently, as we speak, William Samoei Ruto is the blue-eyed boy of the Biden administration. They assisted him to ascend to power. In fact, if you ask many in our country, they believe that our election was interfered with maybe from Washington, D.C. When the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, pitched camp in Bomas where verification of results were taking place. And we believe, many of us in the country, that Ruto is a candidate of Joe Biden. In fact, there have been divided opinions. The US election is taking place in the next 3 months in 5th November. Joe Biden, a member of the Democratic Party, is seeking re-election. And Donald Trump, who is a former president, is now seeking a second term, a second non-consecutive re-election. He's running on a Republican ticket. Now, there are people who feel that Biden should be defeated because he keeps on interfering in the African political and economic affairs. They say we need a president who will let Africa elect their own president without interference, so that if he wants to work with that president, let us give him to him, not him giving him to us. But others are telling me that Donald Trump has got a very bad policy on immigration and therefore they don't want him. I don't understand so much about US elections, and so I don't want to delve into it. But yesterday, there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. He was in a campaign in Butler, Pennsylvania. And just a few minutes before he took to the podium, I think he was about to start addressing the people, multiple gunshots were heard in the air. And a young Gen Z, only 20 years, who has been named as Thomas Matthew Crooks, had climbed on a top building, and from that rooftop, he fired several gunshots that caught Donald Trump in the upper part of the ear. And there was mayhem and commotion. This little boy hails from Bethel Parks, also in Pennsylvania, and for some reasons, he wanted to assassinate Donald Trump. Now, authorities and Secret Service rushed and moved very fast and formed a ring around Donald Trump, and they shot this young boy, Thomas Crooks. Another bystander, we are getting report that is a strong supporter of Donald Trump, was also killed in the process, and 2 other people got serious injuries. Donald Trump took to his truth handle, and this is what he said: "I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong, in that I had a whistling sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America." So Donald Trump has extended his condolences to the person who was killed in the process, and he really regrets this. He's saying, God bless America, and nothing will deter him from moving on. But ladies and gentlemen, how is this connected to William Samoei Ruto? And why am I saying that he is scared stiff? This is exactly what I want us to look at. If you look at the event that took place, that was an enraged boy, and I don't know why. Now, William Ruto is undergoing political turmoil. Of recent, Gen Z went to the streets and he has been forced to withdraw the Finance Bill 2024. He also dissolved his cabinet. He also forced the former Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, to resign in a bid to appease the Gen Z, in a bid to try and endear himself to the nation that is tired of him, a nation that is angry. Because when William Ruto got to power, he campaigned on a platform of a person who was going to change this country. He said he had a plan. He criticized the former president. He criticized Raila Amolo Odinga too, and he had told us that he had the answer to all our political, social, economic, and religious problems. Now, just about 2 years into power, he has made very many mistakes that Kenyans decided we are not going to sit back, and especially the youth that were misused during the campaigns now decided we are not going to sit back and let things happen. Now, in the midst of all this, William Ruto realizes that there is another Gen Z, just like the Gen Zs in our country, who was enraged and he attempted an assassination on a former president. Now, if you look at what is going on in the globe, the political globe, youths are emulating what is happening in other countries. They are really looking at what is happening in Kenya, especially in Africa. Even members of parliament have discussed what is happening in Kenya. In Ghana, a member of parliament warned the other members of parliament that if they were not careful, the Gen Zs would deal with them like they dealt with the members of parliament in Kenya, those who voted yes for the Finance Bill 2023. Because the Gen Zs decided that they were visiting the members who were chest thumping, who had voted yes. Some of their houses were burnt, their property were vandalized because they were raged by the manner in which these members of parliament driving big cars, being maintained by taxpayers' money, and they were still just thumping. They get to parliament, and instead of using our the taxpayers' money properly, they pass laws that are meant to please the president rather than pleasing those who voted for them. So members were warned. Even in Tanzania, in Uganda, they are saying that what Gen Zs had started and initiated will go across Africa. So when William Ruto realizes that there's another Gen Z who tried an assassination on a former president, then he knows that that can be emulated in the country. And I don't pray that we go that direction. But the way things are moving, we are in an internet world. Someone could be sitting somewhere and is thinking, why don't I just wait for William Ruto as is from a church and all these things and try it? And I want to reiterate that we don't pray for such a thing to happen. But from where William Ruto sits, his think tanks, State House, deep state security, I know they are already preempting now. What if such a thing happens? Because these people borrow from each other, and that can happen. That is why this is really worrying him. Number two, it happens that a former US president, is enjoying a bit of security. And I believe that the level of security and the standard and quality of security that Donald Trump is enjoying cannot be compared to this one of William Samoei Ruto. Yes, he's a sitting president, but America is more advanced. So the imagination that someone was on a rooftop and shot severally, and it caught Donald Trump in the upper right ear, is very, very scary for a president who is not in good terms with the Gen Z, who is not in good terms with the people elected him to power, who is not in good terms with the several citizens. And he looks at his security and that one of Donald Trump, and it is scaring him. I know our president is protected properly. I want to believe so, that he's one of the most protected presidents in Africa. But then you imagine that Donald Trump was shot and you want to compare that with William Ruto, then you know there's something wrong. And this is really scaring them. And I know they have to beef up security. They have to be alert. Henceforth, wherever William Ruto is going, I know the Secret Service or the men in black or the civilian policemen and intelligence will be there in advance. And I know they've been doing this, but right now, this is an eye-opener. and they have to be very, very careful. This is really scaring him. Number three, these attempts were carried out by a Gen Z. This Generation Z, they are the people who flocked the streets. They are the people who gave William Ruto ultimatum. They are the people who said, we are not our fathers. You've kept on hoodwinking our fathers. Anytime they're about to achieve what they want, then you call them for a dialogue. Right now, we will only come for a dialogue once you have acted upon what we have given you. Yes, you have chased the Inspector General, you have dissolved your parliament, the cabinet, but they are telling William Ruto, we are not going to be moved by mere resignation and dissolving parliament. We want to see these people in jail. Like they're saying, Inspector General really officiated or was in charge of the police when very many people were killed, their colleagues in killing university students. And they're saying by resigning, he accepts responsibility that he was in charge of a police that killed many of them. The killer cops around are still hovering around. And they're saying until we see them jailed, we will not accept this kind of... they feel this is just meant so that this was meant to ensure that the momentum calms down. They're telling William Ruto that by dissolving your cabinet, you admit that it was corrupt and incompetent, and corrupt people must go to jail. So they're telling William Ruto, don't think we are going to let it go just like that. You are not going to recycle those who have been in power before. They don't want former governors to be there. They don't want the people who they voted out because they rejected them, and now William Ruto wants to bring them back. And they are saying, we don't want to see some of these friends of yours coming back when you reconstitute your cabinet. And they have given him an ultimatum. So the fact that this was attempted by a Gen Z, just like Gen Zs who are giving him trouble and sleepless nights, it is really, traumatizing for William Samoei Ruto. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that William Ruto is a worried man, because you never know. These people come up with new ideas every day. Like yesterday, they said Atwoli must go. They're saying Atutaki hawa wazee sasa, they need to go. Even though from where I sit, the experience of the elderly and the wisdom and ambitions of the young must be combined for a country to run. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Do you think there is a connection? Do you think William Ruto is really worried? From where I sit, I believe he's really, really worried, and he doesn't know what to do.